It's estimated that 90% of toys are made out of plastic, and that generates a lot of waste. So more and more, parents are looking for toy alternatives to plastic, and companies have an opportunity to cash in on the trend. At Maple Landmark Factory in Vermont, the solution has always been there. All the company's toys are made mostly out of wood, a little metal, and zero plastic.
We do not spend a whole lot of time thinking about eliminating plastics because we just never have used them in the first place.
On today's episode, we take a look at how one company's commitment to woodworking provides an eco-friendly alternative to plastic. Maple Landmark started in the late 70s when Mike Rainville was just a teenager, and woodworking was just his hobby. Now, it's a family-owned company of about 40 employees that makes thousands of wooden toys and games every day. Their name trains, wind spinners, marble mazes, and more are sold around the world, and they're assembled by hand in their small shop. Whenever possible, their materials are sourced from local companies, and they do their best to make sure nothing is wasted.
Material we do use, we try to make every last bit count. We buy from mills that are all within a short drive distance from us, and even our waste is used for cattle bedding, for sawdust, or kindling wood for the scraps for local people to burn. We try to be as efficient with resources as possible and use friendly finishes and safe finishes for kids.
They follow the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission rules, and their materials tested well below federal standards for lead levels. In 2007, Mattel recalled nearly 1 million toys after lead paint was found in plastic toys made in China. Maple Landmark uses finishes that meet or exceed federal safety standards, so the presence of lead is less likely.
Certainly, there's more concern since the lead toy scares we had in 2007 from import toys. More people are concerned, but more people could be concerned.
But the company couldn't avoid plastic entirely.
So we do use some thin plastic shrink wrap on a lot of our products so that it can be seen for what it is. For a lot of our shipping, we use shredded paper that we generate ourselves, so we avoid plastics there.
The American toy industry is worth nearly $28 billion. And within that market, there are only a handful of commercial wooden toy companies in the US. Maple Landmark estimates that it's one of less than 20 of them. But choosing wood over plastic isn't cheap. Rainville acknowledges that parents need to spend more for their product.
There's no question a wooden toy is going to be more expensive, and insisting that we make things in the U.S. here in Vermont. It does give us the opportunity to make a high quality product, but we have to admit that we're not going to compete against imports from Asia. It's just not a chance that can happen.
So until more American parents are willing to pay a premium for their children's toys, eco-friendly manufacturers like Maple Landmark will only make a small dent in the amount of plastic produced for toys.
It's not just the plastic in toys that parents are becoming more aware of. The material is pretty pervasive in kids' lives, from food containers to diapers. Insider parenting editor Eleanor Goldberg-Fox is here to discuss how she tried to go plastic-free for a month with her 2 young children. So why did you decide to do this?
I've been doing a lot of reporting about the plastics crisis and how our oceans are drowning in plastics and what the health implications are for people and marine life. And the more research I was doing, the more I was finding that the health risks are actually of particular concern for young children because they use so much plastic, from diapers, bottles, wipes, toys. And the health risks are actually greater for them because they're still growing and developing.
So you went all in and eliminated all plastic for 1 month. Were you able to do it?
No. And the truth is, I didn't even feel like a failure because I talked to some of these amazing mommy bloggers who said, no, you can't get down to zero. There are certain things that there are no alternatives for plastic. For example, I was breastfeeding at the time, which you would think is the most eco-friendly, greenest thing you can do. But every accessory associated with breastfeeding is plastic. The plastic pump, the bags that you store it in. So I would try to find better alternatives. You couldn't necessarily find something that wasn't plastic.
What were the other really hard things to get rid of that we don't think about sometimes?
I mean, the absolute hands down hardest, most most disgusting thing I had to do was switch from disposable diapers to cloth diapers. So that was hard because, you know, when a child has a blowout diaper, and you can't put that in a washing machine. So I was kneeling over the toilet, like cleaning these diapers with rubber gloves on, and, you know, no one else in my house was involved in that process. Like that was on me. So that was hard. But the truth is, once I got the hang of it, it really wasn't so bad, and it's something that I have actually continued doing to a certain degree.
Wow, you are a hero. What were the main things that you had to change overall, other than diapers?
So I was like a monster. I took my kids' toys, all of their toys, and put them in a closet. I mean, pretty much everything they play with is made of plastic, and they were left with like a handful of things, and they're like, Mom, what are you doing to us, you know? So that was difficult, but still, finding alternatives isn't that hard. You need to just get used to saying no, and sometimes they'd have tantrums, and that's okay. I mean, kids don't need that much stuff. I mean, think about 30, 40 years ago, toys were made of wood, they were made of cotton, they were made of rubber, they were made of sustainable materials you could pass down from one generation to the next.
And then what about food? That seemed to be more complicated.
Food is complicated. Some things are not that hard. For example, we switched to using stainless steel cups at home. But the challenge comes when you're trying to pack snacks. I mean, there are those ubiquitous squeezy packs, which I've completely ruled out. That wasn't hard to eliminate. But still, my kid is picky, and he's skinny, and only wants to eat our crackers that come in plastic, and he wants to eat pizza from the freezer. I'm like, can we just get pizza at the pizza store? And he's like, no, like, this is what I want to eat. So when it came to baby food, I mostly made my own baby food, which just means putting a sweet potato in the oven for an hour. That's not that hard. Mashing up a banana with a fork. And if I really needed to buy baby food, I'd buy the ones that came in glass jars. And then you can reuse those for other things. You can use that for storage of like little toys and knickknacks, and that's also not as big of a challenge.
So it clearly costs you a lot of time. Is it a lot more expensive as well to be plastic free?
It's expensive on the front end, but you're investing in healthier products. So I definitely had to I fronted hundreds and hundreds of dollars. The diapers alone, and I did buy the most accessible, easiest to use diaper, so I spent $600 alone on diapers.
Then you had to clean them in the toilet?
And then I had to clean them in the toilet.
Good call.
And then and then in the washing machine. And that was, also there's time. I mean, what is a higher currency what's the highest currency for parents? Time. So that was 6 hours a week of washing diapers.
Did you save any money?
So I did. If you continue doing cloth diapering full time, families can save at least $1,000 a year. And of course, the more children you diaper, the more money you save. And then, I've completely cut out disposable kitchenware. I don't buy disposable plates, forks, knives, cups. I just don't buy it. I don't buy disposable Ziplocs. I use the reusable silicone bags. And so I've seen a lot of savings from there. Like, I would say hundreds of dollars in savings.
You can get all the details from Eleanor's plastic-free experiment on insider.com. We'll see you next time for another episode of Business Insider Today.